I did not like the original. I remember watching the original late one night, and I was just like, why is this so revered? And then I saw the new one, and I was already having that memory space of the original. I'm just like, ooh, I like this one.
Hi, I'm Teresa. Welcome to Cocoon Cast, where we deep dive into movies and discuss all things cinema.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. Today we will be discussing a Moth Masterpiece, a movie that Teresa and I believe is perfect, with a 5 Moth rating to boot.
Today we will be discussing the movie, the remake, True Grit from 2010.
Let's get started. After Maddie Ross discovers her father's death at the hands of Tom Chaney, she soon enlists the help of 2 lawmen, U.S. Marshal Rooster Cogburn and LaBeef, a Texas Ranger, to capture him alive. But Maddie soon discovers that her headstrong witticisms will only get her so far in the lawless frontier she finds herself in. How will she survive in this treacherous environment with 2 total strangers?
Rebecca, we love this movie.
This is probably one of, if not the best Western I've ever seen.
Wow. Oh, wow. Enough said, right? Okay, hey, that's good. Tell us why you like it so much.
The dialogue is snappy.
Your father bought the ponies and paid for them, and there's an end of it. I have the bill of sale.
And I want $300 for Papa's saddle horse that was stolen from your stable.
You have to take that up with a man who stole a horse.
Tom Chaney stole the horse while it was in your care. You are responsible.
Yeah, I admire your sand. But I believe you will find I'm not liable for such claims.
You were the custodian. If you were a bank ever robbed, you could not simply tell the depositors to go hang.
I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
The cinematography is fantastic. Thank you, Roger Deakins. I love you, man. The directing, spot on.
When will they arrest him?
Not soon, I'm afraid. The marshals are not well staffed, and I'll tell you frankly, Cheney's at the end of a long list of fugitives and malefactors.
Could I hire a marshal to pursue Tom Chaney?
You have a lot of experience with bounty hunters, do you?
That is a silly question. I am here to settle my father's affairs.
All alone?
Well, I'm the person for it. Mama was never any good at sums, and she could hardly spell cat. I intend to see Papa's killer hanged.
Love you too, Coen Bros.
What's not to like?
Well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, well, yeah, there has to be at least something that we didn't like. Let's talk about the screenplay, though. You and I know this movie, what do we see it? Once every year, once every 2 years? I think we know parts of this movie by heart at this point. I know I do.
This is the movie whenever we as a family are like, what do we want to watch? It's been a while. Oh, hey, we could watch True Grit. Yeah, let's watch that.
It's funny. It is so funny.
Mr. Cogburn, in your 4 years as U.S. Marshal, how many men have you shot?
Never shot nobody I didn't have to.
Well, that was not the question. How many?
Shot or killed?
Let us restrict it to killed so that we may have a manageable figure.
And the acting is so good because you think about it, right? This could be a great script and delivered so poorly, but it's not.
My name is LaBeef. I've just come from Yale County.
We have no rodeo clowns in Yale County.
A saucy line will not get you far with me.
No, it's pretty seamless. You get to know the characters immediately. You immediately get to see the different facets of these characters. It's not, you introduce a character, you walk away hoping that the audience kind of caught what you were trying to say.
I would agree with that. No, that's a good point, though, because you, like you said, you know the characters very quickly, and part of that is their interactions, part of it is their dialogue, and part of it is just observing how they are with each person. And it's funny, even the people like Rooster, You may not like him. He's kind of a, he's kind of a gruff, kind of a jerky kind of a guy. He's got a big heart somewhere under there. But you see him in court.
Returning to the other encounter with Aaron Wharton and his 2 remaining sons, you sprang from cover with your revolver in hand.
I did.
Loaded and cocked.
Oh, if it ain't loaded and cocked, it don't shoot.
And like his son, Aaron Wharton advanced against an armed man.
Well, he was armed. He had an axe raised.
I believe you testified you backed away from Aaron Wharton.
That's right.
Which direction were you going?
I always go backwards when I'm backing up.
And you're like, wow, I respect him. I think he's funny. And Maddie, my goodness, this was Haley Steinfeld. She was, 14 when she took this role?
I thought she was younger. She feels younger.
Well, but that's the whole point, though, right? She plays 14-year-old. Maddie in the movie, she's 14. And my understanding is she beat out 15,000 other girls for this part.
That I do remember.
That's pretty amazing.
Even the little bit characters you have as a joke are fantastic.
Yes.
Some of our earliest Cocoon Cast fans may remember we used a clip of the turkey guy.
And he's not forgettable, but he's forgettable, meaning you're not going to remember too much, but you're going to Yes, that was the Butterball who chose not to sponsor us then.
Yeah.
Wonder
why.
We've been not sponsored even before we were production. It's pretty sad. But yeah, I think the acting was really spot on.
One of the things I love about this movie is the way it's able to hold and release the tension. There's a moment where Maddie is bargaining for some ponies, and you feel
I love this.
You feel just enough tension to understand her stakes in the situation.
How old are
If
you?
anything, my price is low. Why, Judy is a fine racing mare. I've seen her jump an 8-rail fence with the heavy rider. I'm 14.
Oh, well, it's all very interesting. The ponies are yours. Take them. Your father's horse was stolen by a murderous criminal. I had provided reasonable protection for the creature as per our implicit agreement. My watchman had his teeth knocked out and can take only soup.
And I will take it to law.
You have no case.
Lawyer J. Noble Daggett of Dardanelle, Arkansas, may think otherwise, is might a jury. Petitioned by a widow and 3 small children.
I will pay $200 to your father's estate when I have in my hand a letter from your lawyer absolving me of all liability from the beginning of the world to
I will
date.
take $200 for Judy, plus $100 for the ponies, and $25 for the gray horse that Tom Cheney left. He was easily worth $40. Right, that is $325
The
total.
ponies have no part in it. I will not buy them.
And the price for Judy is $325.
I would not pay $325 for Winged Pegasus.
But you also understand within the context of the movie that it's kind of a brief interlude before stuff gets crazy.
And yeah, you mean chaos ensues? Is that what you're really trying to say?
I think so. In a PG-13 kind of way.
In a PG-13. It is funny to me because, as you said, it gives you a hint of who she is. And when she says, I'm going to avenge my father's death, which sounds like a Marvel movie at this point. But back
she was in a Marvel show.
Yes, she was. I know. See, I thought you'd find that funny.
That's true.
But back in the day, right, that's what you do. And at first you go, gosh, she's so young. But right out of the gate, you see how strong she is.
I think that's a really tough character to play because you want to root for Maddie. She's on this quest. She wants Tom Cheney to hang. She wants him to hang for the murder of her father, not some random incident with a state senator and a dog. Mm-hmm. She wants him to hang for this. This to her is peak justice.
This movie could be so dry, serious, and no humor at all, which is terrible. But there's parts of this movie that are funny. They're talking, she's going to this public lynching and, they're all up there and one guy goes, oh, I'm not sorry. And the other guy goes, oh, I'm so sorry. And the other guy goes, well, I just went, and they just cover him. And they're like, yep, you're done.
Can you point out the sheriff?
Out on the Cimarron
Him
River.
with the mustaches.
I will be with my wife and children today. I do not know what is to become of them, but I hope and pray that you will not slight them and compel them to go into low company.
Well, I killed the wrong man as to which why I'm here. Had I killed the man I meant to, I don't believe I'd have been convicted. The seaman out there in that crowd is worse than me. Okay.
Before I am hanged, I would like to say, although...
But it feels like a Coen Brothers movie.
The humor is very dry.
Oh, it's dry.
So just come into this movie prepared for that. There are laugh out loud moments, but there is a bit of a setup for some of them.
There is. There's suspense in the movie, though, too. Meaning, as they're tracking him, LeBou, or I keep calling him LeBou. That's you. No. LeBeef, which is Matt Damon. I like his character, too.
Just remember he has a beef with Tom Chaney.
Oh, that's good. Okay, because I'm just thinking LeBou, and it's like, I know. It feels LeBou-y. His character, I liked. Jeff Bridges, I liked his character. He played Rooster Cogburn, which is John Wayne for our cinema community who remembers the original and probably says, why in the world are you reviewing the new one? Yeah.
I did not like the original. I remember watching the original late one night, and I was just like, why is this so revered? And then I saw the new one, and I was already having that memory space of the original. I'm just like, ooh, oh, I like this one.
The thing that I have not done that I do want is to read the book. The book is a little over 200 pages. It was written in 1968. In my understanding, this version is closer to the book, which I laugh. It's 200 pages. Like, why have I not read this book yet? Especially knowing how much I love this movie. I'd love to hear our cinema community. I'm thinking rank them. It's like book, John Wayne, book, this one. But because anytime you have multiple properties, there's always a little bit of give and take. There's always a little bit of differences. And I'm curious with our cinema community, which one resonates most with them.
That's kind of where I'm at as well, is you never know what spark is going to hit with an audience and how, especially when you have these different iterations that you're talking about.
This movie has so many little interesting pieces. It was nominated for 10 Academy Awards. I remember this, and we were thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to win. It's going to win. You remember how many it won? Yeah, goose egg. None. I'm like, what? How did it not win? But yet it didn't. But it did receive love. It made money at the box office, Blu-ray, DVD, all of that. It is easily available. The humor part, I know we were laughing about the Coen brothers, and I had pointed out to you that Buster Coen is Ethan Coen's son, and if you go all the way to the end credits, he has a credit as Mr. Damon's ab double. Yeah, that really isn't a thing. Apparently, he's just really a set assistant to the screenwriters or to the screen director. And I think it was funny because all the way to the end, they're carrying this humor. And truly, it really felt like the actors were having fun. It didn't feel stiff.
I think the tough part is when you have a film where the talent is having fun.
Yes.
Sometimes it can feel uneven. It's like, oh, we thought this was funny in the moment. And you watch it at the theater, you're like, I have no emotional connection to any of these people. What's going on?
That's true. However, I have a strong emotional attachment to this movie. Steven Spielberg was one of the executive producers in this movie, as if it could not get any better.
I like this movie before Steven Spielberg was in it. Gosh, I sound like a hipster right there.
Yeah, no, right. But I think that's the part where, even though it didn't win the awards that I honestly think it should have, it was so good. And obviously I would encourage our cinema community, if they have not seen it, it's PG-13, very accessible, I think, to many, many people. And honestly, the rating doesn't reflect, I mean, obviously there's some disturbing images, right?
Guy's finger gets blown off.
Yeah, people die, But it doesn't feel any more crazy than a more modern Western, or honestly, even some of the older ones. People die in those things.
They have guns.
I know, right? There's violence ensues. It's a Western. So to me, I'm thinking with a PG-13 rating, many people could see this movie. Do we have any questions from the box?
This movie's billed as a drama Western. Does someone really need to like Westerns to enjoy this movie?
I think it helps. It helps because you're going to be familiar with some of the landscape that the characters are working from emotionally. I think it helps because some of the jokes they make almost feel like they're poking at Westerns. At one point, one of the characters literally gets into an argument over another character's street cred, as it were.
I would agree with that. I think there's the added layer, but I'm not one who says, oh, it's a Western, I must go see it. However, I find myself really liking Westerns. I'm laughing because this almost felt like the show You in the Box Love, The Firefly. That had a Western feel to me.
But the dialogue was also really snappy.
That's the point.
And you have a lot of character drama interacting with character development from another character.
Correct. So I like that. But as you said, I don't think you have to love Westerns. However, I think it helps. I'll be honest.
No beagles were harmed during the making of this movie.
Exactly. No, well, spoiler, I better not say it. Okay, that would be it. Do we have any other questions from the box?
From the get-go, you said this is a 5 Moth movie. You both love it. What are some of the negatives that people need to be aware of?
I think you're only going to be really invested with 2 or 3 characters. I think everybody else kind of feels like a wink, a nod, a laugh. I think it would help this movie if you had a little bit more fleshed out background in some ways.
But I'm laughing, right? We were, dogging on George Clooney about no epilogue. This movie even has an epilogue to it. So you know what's going to happen. I think the only downside that I would see is if they were going to do the 1975, the Rooster Cogburn, the one that was remade with John Wayne and Katharine Hepburn. I don't know where it would even begin. Meaning it doesn't sound like Maddie is part of it. I haven't seen that John Wayne one. I don't even know where this movie would need to go. So to me, that's a downside. If you love the characters, like you said, you're invested in the 2 or the 3 or the 4 or so. I don't know how to expand the story any further, to be honest with you. So to me, that's a bit of a negative because if you love it, boy, maybe you wouldn't mind seeing a second one.
I can think of 2 movies that they could do. They could do a kind of a prequel with LaBeouf hunting his quarry. Or a little bit afterwards, because at the end, some of these characters, you don't know what happened to them. But there's also a little bit of a time skip, so I think they could definitely work within that.
Glad I asked the question. That was a good answer, but ooh, that was nice. All right, so guess what I'm not going to do?
That.
Put them down. What is it?
Holster it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holster that.
Yeah, it's holstered. It's done. Forget. You never saw it.
My moths are in the holster. What do you think? It's
5 Moth movie, baby.
5 Moth movie, baby. Sorry, cinema community. Thanks for joining us. We're always excited to create experiences to bring our cinema community together.
Watch the notifications for our weekly show, Movies and More, where we will have more movie reviews, the latest Hollywood news, and commentary with Snark, meant to amuse.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and to share our channel.
If you enjoyed this movie review, you might click the link to check out our review of American Fiction, a more recent 5 Moth movie, or click the other link to watch last week's show.
Remember, cinema community movies are better together. Thanks for watching. See you in the next review.